All right, Sky Squad, we are back in the building. And of course, we have got to talk about this Married to Medicine reunion trailer. Just for visuals, I'm going to actually pull up the trailer from the Queens of Bravo. And this is going to be a two-part discussion. We're going to do a bit of a reaction to the trailer as well as our recap or reaction, I should say, to season one, episode two of Bold and Bougie. But because I like to also give you guys a little bit of a visualization, I am presenting to you a clip. I can't obviously play the clip because it does not belong to me and I don't want to get in any trouble. So we're going to sort of talk about the highlights from the trailer. In terms of this particular season and in terms of the trailer, if I had to rate this trailer on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I would give it about an 8. I think I really wanted to see more of the quad of it all and the ladies sort of reacting to her. We did get a really big reaction from Dr. Simone as Quad is breaking down into tears. I'm assuming she is trying to give us her explanation of sort of where things have gone wrong in their friendship circle, and Simone is screaming at the top of her lungs that she will stop screaming if Quad is honest. But if she is not honest, then she will continue to scream and screech at the top of her lungs. All right. So it ain't really a reunion unless Simone is screaming at somebody. And of course, she and her church lady dress are definitely delivering. Side note, I never understand to me why it always feels like Dr. Simone never usually gets it right on the attire, at least in my opinion. Now, honestly, that again is my opinion. It is subjective and it does not take away from her character on the show or who she is as a person. It is just that she tends to make stylistic choices that I don't quite always understand. I think that's a good way to put it, right? So, anyway, it's almost like a cross between like the hairstyle like a little church girl and then the dress style like a little like an older church lady. I don't know. I don't know. Something about it just be bothering me. But the other thing that with Quad that we did get is confirmation that basically she did indicate that she was not there, I'm assuming, for Toya, and that she was just there for the check. That is echoed by not only Toya, but also by Sweet Tea. And that does not look too good for Quad. Now, I have been seriously team Quad in this whole situation because I didn't like the optics of how it looked when she got the boot, when they did the quadectomy and they sent her on her way like Survivor, okay? Sashay away, Shantae, okay? But to I think here it reverberated not only from Dr. Heavenly that she gave them her ASS to kiss, but also hearing it now from Toya and then hearing the sentiment echoed by Sweet Tea in the trailer, it does give me a little bit of pause. Like, well, Quad, if you are saying all of these things, then I can understand more why the ladies don't see there being a place for you with them. Because who says that? Who says I'm just here so the check will cash? Like, granted, maybe everybody is there, but who goes to work and says that to the boss? Because ultimately, that's like saying it in a meeting. We all know that we there to collect the check, okay, when we go into the meeting. But don't nobody say it out loud, because then it just sounds like the premise is that you want to seem like you are at least happy to be there, but when you can't even fake it no more, like, I don't know, it just be given like, why would you be here then? Because Simone ends up crying about it being more than just a show, but also the friendship. But then again, how much do I trust Simone? Because um Dr. Heavenly told us that, no, Quad told us during the interview with Carlos King that Dr. Simone only sides with Toya, or so it seems, allegedly only sides with Toya because she don't want Toya to be mad at her. So is Simone overacting or overreacting? Which one is it? And then Mariah also told us that production allegedly told Dr. Simone, according to Dr. Simone, well, according to Mariah, that they wanted her to be the one to dig Mariah's grave. So who do we believe here in this instance, right? All signs do point to Quad maybe not necessarily leaning into the friendship aspect of the show, and definitely leaning more into the I'm going to cash this check part of the show, which would also be an indication that, oh, you here for the check? Well, we're going to snip that check in half and cut you out of some episodes. That'll teach you. Okay. So then the other moment to me that was a highlight, well, not really a highlight, it's either a highlight or a low light, involves Dr. G. One of them involves Dr. G and Phaedra, and one of them involves Dr. G and Dr. Damon. Now, let's start with the Phaedra of it all, because it comes up that Phaedra allegedly was requiring Dr. G to give her a $4,000 per month stipend in order to remain on his Dayton payroll, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. And she's like, well, when did I ever require $4,000 from you? And he says something that to me was so disrespectful, because his wife is sitting right there. He says, let's not lie, or something like that. Something to the degree of, if I had given you this $4,000, or you take this $4,000, who knows where we might be today. Now, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm paraphrasing and I'm going off of my memory, because again, I want to play it so bad. But in that moment, it just looks like what you're saying is, well, I mean, if you had, if you had taken this money, or if I had provided it for you, I mean, who knows where we could have ended up. I mean, and the look of surprise. Now, again, some of this could be editing. I ain't gonna even hold y'all on that. But it's kind of like, even Quad looks shocked, Phaedra looks shocked, Andy looks shocked, Sweet Tea looks shocked. And it really just feels like, man, you don't have no way of of just protecting your wife in any way, shape, or form. Case in point, when you decided to bring your wife back up, to bring your new wife on this show, you did not set any boundaries or parameters for these people on this show and how they would interact with your wife. Whether you dated Phaedra or not, whether you knew Quad was going to be there or not, you should have had some type of discussion with these people about how they were going to interact with your wife or future wife, and how she was to be treated, and the type of level of respect that were going to demand for her. But seeing how little respect that you have for her, then it is no surprise to me that there was no demanding of respect from anybody else. And I hate to say it, but to me, Sweet Tea, when I think about, somebody, being in if my friend, right, and I'm looking what I understand about just life and relationships, you want to be with somebody that makes you feel mentally safe. Now, at least for me, right? Now, when we think about that in terms of this show and what Dr. G has shown us, I'm not necessarily sure why you feel mentally safe with this man, but perhaps that's not a criterion for her. So I can't really put that off on her, right? But she'll figure that out herself, and they will figure out how to make their marriage work or not work themselves. But this show has definitely revealed a lot of things to me about Dr. G that I really don't like. Now, the next thing that comes up is a moment between Dr. G and Dr. Damon, wherein Dr. Damon is basically like, you think that I would cheat on my wife? And Dr. G is like, I don't know what you do, And Dr. G is like, no, I mean, Dr. Damon is like, no, stand on that. I mean, is that what you really think? Now, we don't really get the response to that, but it is quite a moment of tension for these men. And so that was very interesting to me to see, because we typically, at least in these days, don't really see a lot of tension amongst the men, right? So I'm interested because I want to know what the honest truth about that is. Because number one, this was something that Mariah had alluded to. Number two, this was also something that Sweet Tea had echoed in a live of hers that she did on Instagram, right? Which we did touch on this channel. And Dr. Heavenly has also touched on it a bit on her YouTube channel as well. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. The final, I think, highlight from this Married to Medicine reunion is obviously the appearance of Apollo at the end. Now, I know for a lot of you ladies and maybe a lot of you men, that's going to be a treat for you, right? But at the end of the day, we all know what it is, that he's basically going to be there to support Phaedra. But in my mind, I'm kind of like, well, what's the need in all this last ditch effort to kind of like rally the troops around Phaedra, when in fact it seems like she's more interested in being on Housewives based on her recent comments. So I'm kind of like, what is this Hail Mary supposed to be about, right? Is it supposed to be a big moment? I mean, to me, I'm wondering more about what is going on with Apollo and his new wife and how she feel about it, and if she was there. That's more what I'm interested in. Less interested in seeing, well, I would be more interested, I would have been more interested in seeing Apollo during the season and seeing how they co-parent together, in addition to him being newly married or married to somebody else. I would love to see how they work that dynamic out. That would have been the storyline to me that would have been more interesting for Phaedra than seeing this little last minute Hail Mary with him coming out there, especially if we're not going to see his current wife. Okay. As Mariah used to say, kitsch. Okay. So those are my thoughts on the Married to Medicine reunion trailer. Overall, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited that we're finally getting into the tea of it all, and not the sweet tea of it all, but the real tea of it all, with everything that they have to do, especially with Quad coming back into the mix, right? Because it seemed like, based on the trailer, like Dr. Simone got the harshest reaction. And based on what we seem to have seen, so Dr. Simone was the one leading the charge for her to leave. So I don't know. I guess I need to understand more about Dr. Simone and Quad's real relationship, because there's something off there. All right, y'all. So that's enough tea on the Married to Medicine reunion. Let's now jump over to our favorite new We TV show, The Bold and the Bougie. Now, I've added the and the. The show is basically Bold and Bougie, but we're on season 1, episode 2. Now, I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts on this, and I like to pull up a visual while I talk, because it kind of gives people a frame of reference if you have not seen these shows before, to sort of see a visual of who's actually on there. And so, my thoughts on this particular episode was, I really, really liked it. I am enjoying the fact that these women are not. This show is There's some drama going on, definitely. Best believe that. But it does feel like there is a lot of emphasis on personal story. And so that, I think, is what I'm really grateful for. And these ladies do seem like they're above this idea of, really going at it like that, or coming at each other like real crazy or whatnot. Although I Carlos had said something about Malaysia being the force multiplier on the show. And for those of you guys who don't know, that is basically a term that is meant to sort of describe the person who can come into the room, at least in my opinion, and really get the party started and shake things up. Now, while that seemed to be Malaysia based on their interview that Carlos King did with Malaysia, perhaps that is mostly because she is the more well-known face, especially for us Basketball Wives fans. But to be very honest with you, the people that seem to be doing most of the multiplying would be Gaucher as well as Tamika. Okay. And really, quite honestly, Gaucher is the person who is pulling the things out of everybody the most. She's getting the people together. She has got the most story that we are seeing play out, at least within these first two episodes. So to me, I'm kind of like Gaucher might be the one. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because she's also very like, I mean, she's kind of real countrified with it. You know what I'm saying? Like the way she kind of talks and describes things. I really do dig her demeanor. But I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. Let me rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm actually gonna rate it a 9. I was intrigued. I didn't take not one bit of note, okay? Because I really wanted to just sit down and enjoy the show. But I got some issues with the gaucher of it all and the way they gave us this story. And maybe they meant to do it this way because it really added layers and depth to the storytelling in general. But I was like, as Gaucher tells us about her daughter, and her son having issues with her, I feel like she should have led with, yeah, when they was really young, I went to prison or I went to jail or whatever the case was. And I feel like leading with that because I didn't know that. I don't know if many of y'all knew that or if we were supposed to know that, but I did feel like, okay, so this could potentially inform some of the reasons why she felt like, oh, I need to be hustling. I went before I went to jail, I had a hustle mentality. And so it has bled over into being out of jail or whatever like that, and still wanting to hustle to create this life for my family, such that the kids oftentimes felt like I wasn't there for them, especially during their sports activities and whatnot, because mama was busy hustling and I was trying to like do hustle for the right way. You know what I'm saying? And not the wrong way, which landed me in the clink clink. Okay. Now ain't no judgment, okay? There's no judgment here as I talk about this. I want you guys to know that because for real, it is what it is. We done talked about people going to jail in our families and stuff like that on this channel, and so we don't really have that level of judgment over here. But what I am saying is, I wish that she would have led with this because I feel like it would have definitely informed me more about why the kids may have felt that way or why she might be working so hard. I think that could come at the beginning, but that's just me. And again, it's a storytelling, I think a storytelling tactic. It's like peeling away layers so that we then, oh, there's more to the story, right? Malaysia goes to see some lady named Princess who I feel like would have made a great addition to this show because I like this. I mean, this other lady, Princess, is giving me real country fried too. She's actually giving me a more diva-licious version of Moneta, who is also heavily mentioned again on this show. Actually, I might have to take away a little point for that because we still in the manetta of it all and people who are not there of it all. But yeah, I'm gonna give them some grace on the second person that's not there, which is Usher, because I mean, why would he do reality TV? But we'll get to that when we get to it. Malaysia goes to visit Princess, and we learn that Malaysia wants to have a tea party. She's calling it a clatchet tea party, which is basically classy and ratchet. And she really wants to open the door to a relationship with Crystal. Listen, I don't know Crystal like that. I mean, personally, obviously, I don't know none of these women like that personally, but I remember the interview that Carlos King did with Crystal, and she definitely gave a different level, a different type of energy than she gives on the show. On the interview, I didn't really get much from her personality. She seemed real stiff and real like actually like almost it almost felt like she didn't really want to be there. But that was just my opinion or my thought about it, right? But on the show, she comes across as very young, effervescent, bubbly personality. She is almost like to me the Drea of the show, the kind of coming in as like the sort of young spirited person that Gaucher obviously feels a little bit of, I don't know, maybe some type of kinship with and very protective over because Gaucher is still annoyed from last week when Tamika was getting all up in Crystal's business, when Crystal apparently also actually has a relationship with Moneta herself. So like everybody's like, I'm friends with Moneta, so what's your tea? But little do we know, Crystal also at least has conversations with Moneta, or at least some type of level of communication with her. So why are everybody so up in arms? Anyways, in a personal story, and speaking of Tamika, we do get a bit more about her story and her son and losing her son, Kyle, which was definitely sad to hear. It is, I don't know much about Lake Lanier other than what I hear on the television and on the in the news. But why do people even still go there? It sounds like that place should be condemned. Like, why is Lake Lanier still a thing? I really don't understand. I mean, I don't really know all the details about the history. All I know is every time I hear about it, it's associated with somebody dying or some tragic incident. So for me, I'm like, I agree with Tamika. Just drown. I mean, not just drain that thing. Drain it. Drain it so nobody else has any catastrophes or disasters or tragic things happen. Like drain it. Okay. Today. I'm with you, Tamika. Um, Tamika seems like the type of person that gets agitated very easily, and I'm uniquely fascinated by it. To be honest with you, she seems easily triggered, tired, and annoyed by everybody and anything that it don't matter the moment. I don't know. I don't know what might trigger her at any moment in time. In real life, she seemed like she could be exhausting to be around, but maybe that is just how she comes across on television. But I'm fascinated by her for some reason. So she, to me, makes for a great reality TV personality and a little bit like a villain, right? Now, again, they having the tea party. That's really the big thing of the episode that Malaysia is throwing. And of course, it descends into chaos because while it is meant to gather the girls and rally everybody in under the guise of acceptance, really it's about spilling the tea on each other. Okay. Well, everybody spilling their own tea. Well, no, Goshay want to spill Tamika's tea. Let's just call a thing a thing. Goshay still mad from Tamika acting like how she did last week with Crystal. It looked like to me Goshay madder than Crystal. Crystal done forgave the girl, but Goshay is like, not on my watch. Okay. Goshay is like, girl, I'm gonna get you, sucker. Goshay want to know all the tea. Girl, why was you mad last week? You was mad Aggie last week. Why was you so angry and upset? What's your tea with Usher? Tell me that. What's your tea? I want to know why y'all break up. Then what I love that they did in this episode was they brought it full circle. Earlier in the episode, Tamika is talking about her book, and she's selling her book. Here I stand. Goshay then brings out the book in her confessional. Well, you don't want to tell us because in real time, Tamika says, I don't know why me and Usher broke up. But Goshay is like, girl, I already know. It's in your book. You said in your book basically that he was allegedly cheating or some things like that. And so that's really clearly that's where you stand. So I don't know why you telling us during this tea party that you don't know, because in your book you clearly know. Now, is you having amnesia? So then they're starting to wonder, at least Goshay and Malaysia, they're like, well, are you so mad at Crystal because she did something with Usher? Malaysia's like, well, Crystal, were you in Usher's DMs? And I'm thinking to myself, were DMs even a thing when Usher and Tamika dated? It was so long ago, to be honest with you. All I know is the people was mad and upset at the time when it came out that Tamika and Usher were dating, because they was all like, and I remember, wasn't Usher's mama not really happy about that either? Or am I misremembering? Y'all let me know in the chatterization. All I remember was the people was upset that he had picked this woman, this this woman who seemed to be much older than him, and I don't really know her age or how much older she is, but everybody was mad, upset, hollering, screaming, whoop de whine and crying and all type of things like that. So my thought was, now when was they dating? I can't even remember. It was back in the day. Was the DMs even a thing back then? Was people sliding in them like that? I don't even remember. But now Crystal is mad at Malaysia all over again for asking that question. But Also, I wonder if she should be mad at Gaucher because Gaucher, I feel like, also hinted at it. The only person that seemed to be really staying out the drama is Princess. Poor Princess. I feel like Princess is just happy to be there. You know what I'm saying? And she's happy to show up in her Chanel and her Gucci, her Louis Vuitton, her Dior, her Prada, her Givenchy, her Lanvin. I mean, every label in the book, she got it. And Princess has this nervous sort of energy that I just kind of love and I think is adorable. So I really want to see more of her as we go on, and I want to know more about her story, especially as a creator of Real Housewives of Atlanta. She said some things that I thought were interesting, and I really want to hear more about. So anyway, that's my recap, my thoughts on the Married to Medicine trailer, as well as Bold and Bougie season 1, episode 2. Let me know if you guys are watching either or both, and let me know your thoughts down in the chatterization down below. With that being said, I will catch you all in the next video.